Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Her Inspired Mind podcast. This is your host, Rebecca Fillmore. And the topic that I'm going to speak to you on today is something that I truly believe is important for you to have in your life. And I'm going to be talking about consistency and how you can be more consistent. But before we dive into that, I want to read what the definition of consistent means. It is acting or doing in the same way over time. Steady, stable, constant. So when you're consistent, you're going to continue to act in the same ways and do the same things over time. You're not going to do something one time and then switch up the next day or change course the next day. No, you're going to be constant. You're going to be steady in the same thing over time. And one thing that I take pride in is being a consistent person. It's something that I've heard people tell me that I am, because I have my eyes on certain prizes in my life, whether it's the kind of success I want to have in my business, the kind of relationships I want to have in my life. And when you're consistent, it doesn't matter how long something's going to take you. Like you just know that that's the thing, the end goal that you want. So you're going to keep working until that thing comes to fruition. So I want to ask you, do you believe that you're a consistent person? And we're going to talk about some things to allow you to reflect to see if you are or aren't. And if you aren't, I'm going to give you some tips on how you can become a more consistent person so that you can get the results that you want in your life. So, my question to you is, do you show up in the same ways day in and day out? So, like, are you a person who changes your personality a lot? Are you consistent in the way that you treat other people, in the way that you deal with people? Are you consistent in the way that you work? Or are you just, or do you just kind of go off of how you feel every day? Do people know what to expect from you? Or do you always leave them up in the air? Like, I'm not sure what version of you I'm going to get today, right? Because that's not you being consistent. People don't know what to expect, right? When they're dealing with you. So I just want you to reflect on these questions and think about where you are, right? Um, and I believe that one of the first things, one of the keys to being a more consistent person is that you need to know what your core values are, right? You need to know what you stand on. So, like for me, one of my core values is having faith and perseverance and not giving up, right? And those are the things that allow me to show up consistently, that allow me to continue to work on the things that I've been working on for many years. When I first started my entrepreneurial journey, it was back in 2015. And I didn't know much about being an entrepreneur, but I knew the kind of lifestyle I wanted to live. And so that is, one of the reasons why I am still here today. That's one of the reasons why I have seen progress in my life, in my personal life, in my business, in myself, because I know what I stand on and I know what my end goal is. And so when you know what your core values are, it allows you to keep showing up consistently, no matter what's going on in your life. Right. And so you have to have something, some kind of foundation that you're standing on in order for you to be able to keep showing up every single day and for you to not give up as soon as something goes wrong. I don't know about you, but I might have a day or two that go pretty well, but then some kind of curveball happens, whether it's to me, in my family, somebody that I know. And so I have to like figure things out. And yes, there's been moments where I have felt like giving up. Like I'm like, I quit. I'm done with this. But because I am so grounded in my why, like I know what kind of life I want to live, the kind of life that I want to give my children. I can't backtrack. I can't go to the left. Like I cannot give up, right? Regardless of how I feel. And so that's one of the things that's going to help you to be more consistent when you know your core values, when you know what you stand on, and you have this huge why you're doing what you do and why you're living. You're not going to do anything else until you get those results, right? And the only way those results are going to happen is if you don't give up, if you keep showing up in the same way. Because a lot of times what I've seen happen is sometimes people, let's say they just want to make money, right? Money is very shallow. Money is a very super, oh, I just want to make a lot of money. Okay, you want to make a lot of money, but why? Why do you want to be making so much money? Why do you want to be successful? Right. And for me, I know the kind of lifestyle that I want to live. I know how I want to feel every single day. And so I'm going to do the things that I know are going to give me those end results. Right. And, you know, you can't get distracted when you see the next shiny object. So, like, if money is your object, and let's say you've been working on a while, let's say you started a business, right? And at first you're not making money, and then somebody comes with this nice opportunity. They, you know, they know how to talk to you nice, and they're like, listen, you can make a lot of money within the next 90 days if you try this business. So then you go and you leave what you were working on for the last couple months, and you go and you try to do that business, right? And you're working, 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 you're not seeing results, but then somebody else comes in like, hey, I have an even better opportunity for you. If you do X, Y, and Z, you're gonna, okay, good. You run over there. And the next thing you know, 5, 10, 15, 20 years go down a road and you're still not successful at anything. Why? Because you kept allowing yourself to be distracted by the next shiny object. But what a lot of times people don't realize is that the only way that you're going to get results is if you stick to one thing and be consistent, keep, you know, banging on that door until that door gets knocked down, right? It's like, I love the image where it shows like two people that they're have like a hammer on opposite sides of a mine, and there's a whole bunch of gold in this mine. And one of them, they're almost there, but they get tired, they get distracted, they see something else and they stop hammering. But the other person, they keep hammering in the same place, in the same place. And until the day they finally get through and they see all this gold, right? And so if you're only, you know, chiseling away at a part for a year, right? Or you're working on something and you're just working on it for a year, you get tired, you're like, "Oh, I don't know. Let me just try something else." And then you go try something else. "Oh, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it." And then you keep trying. Like, you cannot expect to get results if you keep just working for a little bit on something, and then you give up, and then you try something else, and you try something else again, because you're chasing the wrong thing. You have to know your why you're doing something. Don't do things just because somebody promised you something or because you think you're going to make a lot of money. Like, no, you have to have a strong, deeper why you're doing the things that you're doing. And that is because when you're consistent and you keep showing up in the same ways, doing the same things, then you're going to see results. Then you're going to see the fruits of your labor, right? It's like a woman gets pregnant and imagine her husband tells her 2 months go by, like, honey, like, why aren't you giving birth yet? Like, what's going on? Like, the baby wouldn't survive if it was born at 2 months, right? No, it takes 9 months for a woman to really truly develop the child that's within her so that that baby can be born healthy and with all the parts that it needs, right? And it's the same thing with us. We cannot expect to get results overnight. Like those people who promise you that you're going to be successful overnight, they're lying, you know? And if you do get a lot of money overnight, how long is it going to last, right? How long is that success really truly going to last? You know, I love that quote that says, it only takes 10 years to become an overnight success. The people who you see in the world who are truly successful, that are thriving, that are happy, that are really making a huge impact in the world, they didn't get there overnight. It took them a long time. It took them maybe 10, 15 years. You know, I was listening to this live that Trent Shelton was doing last night, and he was talking about like it took him like 15 years to get where he is now. Like when he first started doing lives on Facebook, maybe one or two people watched. You know, he barely got any shares, he barely got any likes, but he kept showing up because his why was stronger and bigger than worrying about how many people were going to like or comment or share. No, he just wanted to make a big impact in the world. He wanted to share positivity. Like he just felt something strong in his heart, a message that he felt like needed to get out there in the world. And so I want to ask you, what is at the bottom of your heart? What is at the core of it? Why do you do what you do? And if you're not doing anything, I want you to dig deep, you know, get a pen and paper and journal. Like, what are your heart's desires? What are some things that maybe you stopped dreaming about because people started talking you out of your dreams? And if you have people like that in your world, you need to either remove them or distance yourself from them, because what you want is people who will speak life into you, people who will empower you to become the person that you were created to be. Because you're not here by coincidence, you're not here by accident. You are here because God created you unique and special. There's no one else out there like you. You are one of one. And there's a gift inside of you. There are things inside of you that the world needs, whether it's something that you are creating or something that you need to say. But there's something inside of you that you do have to offer to this world. And if you've been chasing things that haven't been filling you up, it's time to let those things go. It's time to go deep within your heart and see what God is trying to tell you that he wants you to do, the commission that he has you to do. Once you tap into that and you know what it is, start doing it. You don't need no one else's approval. You don't need to be asking people like, hey, I have this idea. What do you think? Because people cannot see the vision that God has put inside of you. It's like expecting someone to see clear out of your prescription glasses. Like I wear glasses and I wear contacts. That's like me trying to put my contact in my husband's eyeball or in my friend's eyeball or my kids. They're not going to see the same way because that's my contact lens. That's the prescription for my vision so that I'm able to see clear. So that's the same thing with you. If God gave you a vision and a desire to do something, you can't expect to get the approval from people. People will think that you're crazy, that you're wasting your time, that it's never going to happen. Like, those are the kind of things that you could get, and that can discourage you. So it's time for you to just be one-on-one with you. It's time to dig in. It's time to create. It's time to move, to do things and be consistent in it. Don't give up until you see the end result that you see in your mind. And have in mind that it might take you months and even years. And when I say years, it could even take you 25 years. But you have to be okay with that, because that vision was given to you and only you. And so that is your assignment while you're here on this earth. I've been working, like I said, I've been an entrepreneur now for over 9 years, right? And so next year is going to be year 10 of me being an entrepreneur. And I've been through some things, right? I started not doing what I'm doing now But when I first started, it's still in alignment with what I'm doing right now, right? Because you got to start somewhere. You got to start with that first step. But I am in alignment with the things that I've been doing, with the vision that I had to create the life that I desire to have. And so you need to just keep your eyes on the end goal. Start taking those first steps that are going to take you to that end goal, and just every day, just keep showing up. Even doing one thing a day that is going to help you, get that much closer to your end goal. That's all that matters. Because as long as you don't give up, you will see the results in the end. You have to be consistent though. You can't start and stop. Like you can't do that, because every time you stop, it's like starting from scratch, right? You got to keep that momentum. And like I said, life is going to happen. I've had to stop for a little bit. I've had to pause, not stop. I've had to pause. I had to pivot. I had to readjust some things in my life because of having more kids or illnesses or family problems or losses, right? But even in the midst of the hard things, they were still refining me and preparing me for the next level in my mission. And so I've used even the things that have gone wrong, or the bad things, quote unquote, that have gone wrong in my life. They had prepared me for that next level in my commission. So I'm still in alignment with the end goal, because I didn't allow those things to knock me down and keep me down. So just know that as long as you don't give up, as long as you keep showing up consistently, you will get where you desire to be. You will have what you desire to have. You just have to be patient and consistent, right? Again, consistent is acting or doing in the same way over time. So you might need to, develop patience. If you're not a patient person, you might need to develop some patience, but just be steady, be stable, be constant. Don't give up. Keep showing up every single day. Keep doing the things, and you're going to see that you're going to get to that end result, whether it's, the kind of life you want to live, the kind of impact you want to make. Just keep going. Don't give up, right? And like I said, if up until now you haven't been a very consistent person, like, oh, I'm not consistent. Well, you can change that. We can change, right? You could become anything and anyone that you want. So if you want to be a more consistent person, you're going to have to, hold yourself accountable, right? Maybe get some accountability partners, maybe make a checklist of what you need to do every single day. Maybe recite some affirmations like, I am a consistent person. I show up every day in the same ways. I don't give up. I'm persistent. Just speak life unto yourself. Change the narrative that is in your mind until you become that consistent person, and watch your life transform, and watch you, look back and be like, oh, wow, like, look how much further I am in my life than I was a year ago. Right. Um, I love doing that. I was looking at a picture of myself when I first started recording my podcast. It was Inspire Her Within Live. And I used to do it on Facebook and YouTube. And I used to have to like rearrange my whole playroom. I had like this foldable desk. I would go into a corner. I had like a ring light, and then I would kick my family downstairs. I'd like, go to the basement, because I think at the time my son was like a toddler or a baby. And they'd be watching downstairs while I'm recording upstairs, in my house, in my playroom office. And now I have my own office space. I have my own podcast room. And it's just like, wow, like I've been consistent. I've been showing up. I've been doing the work. And when I least expected it, God blessed me with this space. And I'm looking forward to seeing in 2 years, 5 years, how much further I'm going to be. Who all will I have interviewed? Who would all have entered this space, or, maybe sharing this space with other podcasters and teaching other podcasters. Like, the possibilities are endless. But again, I wouldn't be here if I wouldn't be consistently working on myself and working on the things that are in alignment with the vision that I have for my life. All right. So if you are someone who feels like you like really just need one-on-one support and you need extra help, I want to remind you that I do provide one-on-one coaching. So if that's something that you are interested in, please feel free to send me an email at RebeccaFillmore@gmail.com and send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. Let me know that you would like some more support, and we can definitely schedule you a complimentary 20-minute call to talk more about that. And as always, I want to thank you for listening. Please share this episode with someone that you feel like needs to hear it. Please leave me a 5-star rating and review, because this is the way that this podcast gets spread more. You could do that on Apple Podcasts. And so make sure you subscribe on my YouTube, Rebecca Fillmore, Inspire Her Mindset, and connect with me on socials if you haven't yet. Inspire Her Mindset on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook is Rebecca Fillmore. And yeah, just share, share, share. I appreciate your feedback. Let me know also in this episode any feedback. Let me know something that you learned or something that you're going to apply that was beneficial to you. All right. I thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys in the next episode. God bless.